If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by nutrition advice, keto, vegan, intermittent fasting, carnivore, it's a mess, right? Everyone has an opinion, and they're all so sure they're right. Well, today, we're going to cut right through all that noise. We're going to break down the actual science of what works for losing fat, and more importantly, keeping it off for good. We'll use this simple, evidence-based pyramid of importance to guide us. All right, let's get into it. You've heard this a million times. Calories in, calories out. Some people live by it like it's gospel. Others will tell you it's totally outdated and just flat out wrong. So what's the deal? Is this little phrase really the key to everything, or is it missing a huge piece of the puzzle? That's the big question we're going to tackle. And the answer? Really, it all starts with a basic law of physics, energy balance. Look, your body can't just create energy out of thin air, and it can't make it disappear. It just moves it around. So if you put more energy in than you burn, your body has to store that extra stuff somewhere. And if you burn more than you put in, it's going to pull that energy from its stores. Now the law itself, it's simple. It's totally unbreakable. But, and this is the important part, the things that make up that law are way, way more complicated than they look on the surface. So we're starting right here at the very bottom of our pyramid. This isn't some diet fad or a new trend. This is that unbreakable law of energy we just talked about, and you absolutely have to start here. It's the foundation for everything else. Okay, so right off the bat, here's a number that just throws a wrench in the whole calories in side of things. It turns out nutrition labels are allowed by law to have an error margin of up to 20%. Yeah, 20. That means that a 100-calorie snack you're carefully tracking, it could be 80 calories, or it could be 120. So right away, you can see that tracking calories with perfect pinpoint accuracy is pretty much impossible. So you might be thinking, well, if the numbers are so off, why even bother tracking? And that's a fair question. Dr. Lane Norton has this perfect analogy for it. He says to think of it like your personal finances. You can't predict exactly what the stock market or inflation will do down to the penny, right? Of course not, but you still need a budget, just to have a general idea of what's coming in versus what's going out. Calorie tracking is the exact same idea. It's not about being perfect, it's about being aware. All right, so that's the calories in part. Now let's flip over to the other side of the equation, calories out. And this is where things get really, really interesting, because it is so much more than just the hour you spend on the treadmill. This chart just breaks it all down so clearly. Take a look at this. A whopping 60% of the energy you burn every single day is just your resting metabolism. That's the energy it takes just to keep you alive, breathing, thinking, pumping blood. Your actual intentional physical activity, that's only about a quarter of the whole pie. And then you've got this little slice, TEF, which is the energy you burn just digesting food. And then there's this other little piece, a hidden component we're about to get into. So hiding inside that physical activity slice is this secret weapon called NEAT. Now, this is not your planned workout. This is all the energy you burn from things you don't even realize you're doing. Talking with your hands, fidgeting in your chair, tapping your feet. It's all the unconscious movement that adds up throughout the day. And here's the absolute kicker. Research shows that after you lose just 10% of your body weight, your body can subconsciously, without you even knowing it, slash your daily need by up to 500 calories. This is one of the biggest reasons people hit those dreaded weight loss plateaus. It's not because their metabolism is broken. It's your body being incredibly clever, quietly reducing all that fidgeting to hold on to energy. It's a survival mechanism. Okay, so now we get how the calories outside works. Let's move up to the next level of our pyramid. Because here's the thing. While you can't really consciously control how much you fidget, you can absolutely influence how your body handles the calories you do put in. The source of those calories matters a lot. Remember that little slice of the pie called TEF, the thermic effect of food? A great way to think of it is as a digestion tax. And what this shows us is that your body taxes different foods at different rates. For every 100 calories of protein you eat, your body actually burns 20 to 30 of those calories just to process and digest it. But for fats and carbs, that tax is tiny, almost nothing. That's a huge metabolic advantage built right in. So this is why protein basically becomes your best friend in this process. First, you get that awesome digestion tax benefit, so you're burning more calories automatically. Second, and this is huge, it keeps you feeling full for way longer, which makes dealing with hunger 1,000 times easier. And finally, it helps you protect your muscle when you're in a deficit, so you can be sure you're losing fat, not the muscle that actually helps drive your metabolism. So, we've talked about the physics, we've talked about the physiology, but you know what? None of that matters one bit if you can't actually stick with the plan. And that brings us to the next and maybe the most critical layer of our pyramid, the psychology. It's all about adherence. This quote from Dr. Norton, honestly, this is the secret sauce to the whole thing. To lose fat, you have to be in a calorie deficit. There's no way around it, which means some kind of restriction is involved. The real trick is to find the method of restriction that feels the easiest for you, the one that feels the least restrictive. It's all about what fits your life, not some universal rule. And this is exactly how that plays out. You see all these different diets, and people argue about them endlessly online. But look at what they're actually doing. Low carb or keto, they work because they restrict an entire group of foods. Intermittent fasting, it works by restricting the time you're allowed to eat. Good old calorie tracking, it restricts the total amount of food. They're all just different roads that lead to the exact same place, a calorie deficit. The best one is just the one you can actually see yourself doing day in and day out. Okay, we've made it. We are at the very top of the pyramid. This goes beyond calories, beyond macros, even beyond just sticking to a plan. This is the final boss, the ultimate factor for real lasting change, and it has nothing to do with what's on your plate and everything to do with who you see in the mirror. So what is it? What's the one thing that separates the people who succeed for years from those who eventually regain the weight? It's this. The successful ones didn't just change what they ate, they fundamentally changed their identity. They stopped thinking of themselves as a person who is on a diet, and they started becoming a person who is healthy and active. The actor Ethan Suplee, who had one of the most incredible transformations you'll ever see, he sums up this idea perfectly. He has this mantra, "I killed my clone today." It's this idea that every single day, he makes a conscious choice to leave the old him behind and to act as this new person. Real, lasting change isn't a single event. It's a daily decision to recommit to the person you are becoming. So, okay, build a new identity. That sounds kind of big and intimidating, right? But here's the practical roadmap. First, you have to reframe what failure means. The number on the scale is going to bounce around. That's normal. Stop freaking out about the daily number and look at the weekly average. That's the real trend. Second, you have to actually believe in whatever plan you choose. That belief, that placebo effect, is incredibly powerful. And finally, change your goal. Your goal isn't just to lose weight. Your goal is to build the habits of a healthy person. Focus on the actions, and the results will take care of themselves. And that really brings us to the final question to leave you with. Just for a second, forget about the big, complicated diet plan. Instead, just ask yourself this. What is one small habit you could start today? Not because you're on a diet, but because it's the kind of thing the new, healthy, vibrant version of you would just do. That's it. That's where the real transformation always begins.